Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
An angry dispute. They had words. Words making up the dialogue of a play. The text of a popular song or musical comedy number. He wrote both words and music. Language that is spoken or written. He has a gift for words. The words that are spoken. I listened to his words very closely. An angry dispute. An angry dispute. They had a quarrel. Have a disagreement over something. We quarreled over the question as to who discovered America. An arrow that is shot from a crossbow has a head with 4 edges. Construction. A layer of masonry. An angry dispute. The act of rowing as a sport. A continuous chronological succession without an interruption. They won the championship 3 years in a row. A linear array of numbers, letters, or symbols side by side. A long continuous strip, usually running horizontally. A mackerel sky filled with rows of clouds. An arrangement of objects or people side by side in a line. A row of chairs. Propel with oars. Row the boat across the lake. An angry dispute. To quarrel noisily, angrily or disruptively. The barkeeper threw them out, but they continued to wrangle on down the street. An angry dispute. An instance of intense argument, as in bargaining. Herd and care for. Wrangle horses. Words making up the dialogue of a play. Language, communication by word of mouth. His speech was garbled. The mental faculty or power of vocal communication. The act of delivering a formal spoken communication to an audience. Words making up the dialogue of a play. The actor forgot his speech. A lengthy rebuke. Your characteristic style or manner of expressing yourself orally. Her speech was barren of southernisms. Something spoken. He could hear them uttering merry speeches. The exchange of spoken words. They were perfectly comfortable together without speech. A systematic means of communicating by the use of sounds or conventional symbols. He taught foreign languages. Language, communication by word of mouth. He uttered harsh language. A system of words used to name things in a particular discipline. The language of sociology. The mental faculty or power of vocal communication. Language sets Homo sapiens apart from all other animals. The cognitive processes involved in producing and understanding linguistic communication. He didn't have the language to express his feelings. The text of a popular song or musical comedy number. The song uses colloquial language. Expressing deep emotion. The dancer's lyrical performance. A short poem of song-like quality. The text of a popular song or musical comedy number. His compositions always started with the lyrics. Of or relating to a category of poetry that expresses emotion, often in a song-like way. Lyric poetry. relating to or being musical drama. The lyric stage. Used of a singer or singing voice that is light in volume and modest in range. A lyric soprano. Write lyrics for a song. A disagreement or argument about something important. Coming into conflict with. Take exception to. A disagreement or argument about something important. He had a dispute with his wife. Have a disagreement over something. Go against, as of rules and laws. This behavior conflicts with our rules. An open clash between two opposing groups, or individuals. The harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. A hostile meeting of opposing military forces in the course of a war. A disagreement or argument about something important. The familiar conflict between Republicans and Democrats. An incompatibility of dates or events. He noticed a conflict in the dates of the two meetings. A state of opposition between persons or ideas or interests. His conflict of interest made him ineligible for the post. Be in conflict. The two proposals conflict. Opposition between two simultaneous but incompatible feelings. He was immobilized by conflict and indecision. Opposition in a work of drama or fiction between characters or forces, especially an opposition that motivates the development of the plot. This form of conflict is essential to man's writing. A variation that deviates from the standard or norm. The number that remains after subtraction. The number that when added to the subtrahend gives the minuend. A disagreement or argument about something important. There were irreconcilable differences. A significant change. The difference in her is amazing. The quality of being unlike or dissimilar. There are many differences between jazz and rock. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the two firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for one line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. Persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. The words of something written. A book prepared for use in schools or colleges. His economics textbook is in its 10th edition. The words of something written. There were more than 1,000 words of text. A passage from the Bible that is used as the subject of a sermon. The preacher chose a text from Psalms to introduce his sermon. The main body of a written work, as distinct from illustrations or footnotes, etc. Pictures made the text easier to understand. A systematic means of communicating by the use of sounds or conventional symbols. Language, communication by word of mouth. 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 He recorded the spoken language of the streets. A quarrel about petty points. A serious quarrel, especially one that ends a friendship. A quarrel about petty points. Argue over petty things. A quarrel about petty points. Clap one's hands or shout after performances to indicate approval. Clap one's hands together. A cloth covering, a legging, that covers the instep and ankles. A young oyster or other bivalve. Become permanently attached. Mollusks or oyster spat. Come down like raindrops. Bullets were spatting down on us. Engage in a brief and petty quarrel. Spawn. Oyster spat. Strike with a sound like that of falling rain. Bullets were spatting the leaves. A quarrel about petty points. Noisy quarrel. Noisy quarrel. A quarrel about petty points. A rapid active commotion. Care for like a mother. She fusses over her husband. An excited state of agitation. Worry unnecessarily or excessively. Don't fuss too much over the grandchildren, they are quite big now. An angry disturbance. He didn't want to make a fuss.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.